What's going on, guys? Ryan Pineda here. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the top 5 mistakes that new real estate investors make. To give you some background, if you're new to my channel, I've flipped hundreds of homes all over Las Vegas and across the country. We also have over 1,000 students at Future Flipper, which is my education program. And so this list of mistakes that I'm going to give you is something that I have seen over the years, not only in my own business, but coaching so many people since then. So my hope is that if you're a new investor and you have not done a deal, or maybe you've only done a couple of deals, this ends up saving you thousands of dollars because you don't make these mistakes. So with that being said, let's jump into the top 5. But before we do that, let's address the elephant in the room. My nails are really blue. Look at them. It's like super weird that my hands and nails are blue. Oh yeah, that's probably because I dyed my hair blue. A lot of people are asking me if I'm having a midlife crisis and why I would do such a thing when my hair is kind of my signature thing. And there's really a couple of reasons for it. Number 1, I was just really bored and I felt like doing it. Number 2, I've been thinking about joining a K-pop band. I heard that BTS is looking for new members. And number 3, probably most important, I'm actually gonna just try out some new ads with it and see how they perform. You guys know I'm all about marketing and generating leads, so I think that the blue hair on some ads is definitely gonna get some eyeballs. And that actually relates to mistake number 1 that I always see new investors make, and that is not making enough offers. Now you might be saying, what does blue hair have to do with not making enough offers? Well, it's pretty simple. As I just said, I'm gonna use my blue hair in ads. Well, the whole point of running ads is to generate leads for my business. And so the more leads that I create, the more offers I can make to those leads. And having more leads allows us to make more offers. And so one thing I always teach my students is that you've got to make a ton of offers every single day in order to be successful. But in order to make those offers, you've got to first generate the leads. Now, obviously with real estate investing and trying to buy houses, blue hair's probably not gonna generate the leads that you're looking for. You're trying to generate leads for off-market properties, or potentially MLS properties, or potentially wholesalers and realtors. This is how you're gonna create all the opportunities, and then you just have to go and make offers on those opportunities. But the reality is, most people don't generate enough leads or make enough offers. Even if we get somebody who's able to generate a lot of leads, they don't make nearly enough offers on those leads to capitalize on them the right way. If somebody's talking to you, you might as well make an offer. You have nothing to lose by doing it other than potentially being embarrassed by making a low offer. If you can tell by me, I've got blue hair. Obviously, I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm walking around like this because I don't care. I actually put a poll out on Instagram asking people what they thought of my hair, and 72% of them hated it. But it doesn't matter. I'm gonna shoot my shot. And that's exactly what you need to do as a real estate investor. Make a ton of offers, and who cares what other people think? And if you're worried about generating leads, you can do something as simple as making offers on all the properties on the market. Let's just say your market has 1,000 listings. I can promise you, if you made an offer on every single listing at a low price, one of them will take it. And the reason I know that is because we still get deals on the MLS by using that approach. And I think it was Wayne Gretzky that said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So go take your shot. Now, mistake number 2 is one that I see gets investors into the most trouble, and that is speculating. Now, usually where I see speculating is done with the ARV. If you don't know what ARV is, it stands for after repair value. And essentially, all that is what we think we're gonna sell the property for once it's fixed up and on the market. Now, anytime we go to flip a house, we have to calculate that ARV and make sure we're pretty confident we're gonna sell it for that. If I think that I'm gonna sell a house for $400,000 and I sell it for only $350,000, I'm probably gonna lose a lot of money. So I always teach new investors to be conservative with their ARVs. Now, a big problem right now in today's market is that it's easy to get very optimistic on ARVs. A lot of houses that I thought I was gonna sell for, say, $400,000 are now selling for $450,000. And it's easy to get into bad habits and say, okay, you know, this property is only worth $400,000 today, but I bet you by the time I go to sell it, I'm gonna get $430,000 or $450,000. You cannot speculate like that. The deal has to make sense for you at $400,000. And if it does get more than that, that's great. You've hit a home run. It's gonna be an awesome flip, but you cannot bank on it selling for $430,000 or $450,000 in order for you to make the minimum profit. That's gonna get you into trouble, and you're gonna lose a lot of money using that approach. And the reason I know this is because I have speculated on properties many times in my career. Some have worked out for me and I made money. But I've also lost hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing it. So don't speculate, just work harder on finding good deals that you know for sure are gonna make money. And if it does get the appreciation and it does better than you think, that's great, but we never wanna bank on that. Now let's talk about mistake number 3. Now before we get into number 3, I wanna actually help you guys prevent a mistake on an even bigger level. To do that, I'm gonna be giving away one of my courses completely for free. You can get my house flipping and wholesaling course, which is over 80 videos and 10 plus hours of content. If you're more into rental properties, you can get my Rental Property Academy, where we go over everything to do with rental properties on how to find deals, how to evaluate them, and even how I run my Airbnb business. Or if you want to build your personal brand and create content, you can get my Social Media Academy, where I teach you everything that I do as a social media creator. So to qualify to win one of those courses for free, all you got to do is make sure you're subscribed to this channel and comment below what's been your biggest mistake as an investor. I think it's good for people to be transparent about their mistakes because it helps people realize that they're not the only ones who make dumb mistakes. I still make them, and I've done hundreds of deals. So anyways, make sure you do that. Now let's talk about number 3. And that is the renovation process. Most new investors screw up the entire portion of what it takes to renovate a house. The very first thing would be estimating your rehab costs. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, I actually talk about how we estimate costs. We use something called the price per square foot method. To give you a quick example, in Las Vegas, we know that we can spend about $25 a square foot to do a full renovation. So if the house is 2,000 square feet, we're pretty certain that we're gonna spend around $50,000 to renovate it. But here's the deal. That's just Las Vegas and the pricing that we have with our contractors. Your price per square foot's gonna be different in California or New York or the Midwest. Also, this doesn't take into account a rehab on a house that's down to the studs and needs new electrical and all these things. This would be doing a full rehab, not changing any of the bones of the house, but just making it look really good and fresh. And I'll link to the video down below where I go into depth on how we calculate renovation costs. We also talk about it in the courses I mentioned and in my book, Flip Your Future. But here's the thing you gotta know about using that method. It is simply just an estimate. It's a way for you to evaluate a lot of deals all at once from, say, your computer. If you are close on a deal and you're potentially going to buy it or you're under contract, you're gonna wanna go get a full bid from a contractor. You're gonna wanna walk it with them, make sure you get an inspection, and make sure your numbers are for sure. Because what you see in pictures and what you might estimate using that method might not be actually what happens when you're in person. And we've seen that happen a lot. We'll make our offers based on what we think it's gonna cost, but then we will adjust it during our due diligence period when we figure out that, hey, this thing is in worse shape than we thought, or maybe we found some other problems that we couldn't see in the pictures. So the renovation process starts from the very beginning before you ever buy the home. So most new investors screw up that part, but then they also screw up the second part of that, which is the project management side. So let's say you bought the property and you got the bid from your contractor and everything checks out numbers-wise. But you can still get into trouble if you don't manage the project good enough. Maybe your contractor is slacking and he's way behind schedule. Maybe he's doing a lot of unnecessary change orders and pushing the budget even higher. Maybe you gave them too much money up front and now they left the job and you gotta pick up the pieces. I've seen all of those scenarios happen with bad project management. So the key is, if you are going to flip a house and you are gonna manage the project, make sure you're there on site all the time checking it out. Also, make sure you're not paying the contractor too much up front. And lastly, like I mentioned at the beginning, make sure you're getting a bid before you ever buy it. All of those things will prevent you from making mistakes during the renovation process. So let's jump into number 4, which is most new investors make the mistake of paralysis by analysis. And I would say this is probably the biggest mistake I see people make, and technically it doesn't cost you anything, at least financially, but what it does cost you is time and opportunity cost. All that time that you spend analyzing, trying to learn every little detail and not taking action is money that you could have made today and aren't. And I'll tell you, for me, the most valuable resource we have in this world is time. It's not money, it's not anything else. How much time we have is limited, and you gotta make the most of it. So if you're one of these new investors who's been watching my YouTube channel for, say, a year now, and you haven't taken action, you haven't done a deal, yet you talk about it, you need to either quit watching my channel or join my coaching program or start doing some deals some type of way. There can be no in between where you continue to just watch and be entertained. So do not fall victim to doing this paralysis by analysis. And it's really weird because I come across people all the time who have a lot of knowledge about real estate investing, and their knowledge far exceeds what they've actually done. I would much rather have the person who doesn't know that much, but is taking action and making things happen. Because here's the truth about real estate investing. You're gonna learn far more actually doing it and making mistakes on a project than you will learning about mistakes even from this video. And I can tell you firsthand, I've made mistakes that have cost me millions of dollars, but guess what? I was able to learn from those mistakes, turn them into a positive, and then make millions of dollars. But I would have never been able to do what I did unless I actually made those mistakes and took action. So do not fear failure. Don't feel like you gotta learn everything before you actually buy a house or take action. You're gonna fail and you don't know everything. You'll never be ready. But that's the beauty of this business and any business. Even with me today, as I start new businesses, I jump into new things that I'm unsure about. I don't have all the answers when I jump into it, but I know that by being in it, I'm gonna end up making a mistake, I'm gonna learn from it, and then I'll have the answer. And that's just all part of the process of becoming a new investor. So get out of that stage and start taking action. So that brings me to mistake number 5, and that is not pricing the flip correctly. Now this is very common because as you go through the process of finding a deal and renovating it, you're getting really excited about it and you think it is the best flip ever. And you think that your house is better than all the other houses that have sold to this point, and so you decide to list it for more than anything else that's ever been sold. This is a mistake. Now granted, in today's market, you might be able to get away with it because there's nothing for sale, but in a normal market, overpricing a property can kill you. And the reason is people aren't gonna either see it because it's out of their search criteria, or they're gonna think it's not gonna appraise, and so making an offer on it's not even worth their time. Or they just flat out think it's overpriced because they saw a very similar one sell for less. So you don't wanna make the mistake of overpricing your properties in normal markets. Now, as I said, the caveat is we are not in a normal market right now, so overpricing could actually work, but in most situations, that's not something you wanna do. But the same thing can happen with underpricing a home. Let's just say that you should have priced it at $300,000, but you only did $290,000. And then all of a sudden you get an offer on the first day for $290,000 that you take. Well, you just left $10,000 on the table because somebody was probably gonna pay you $300,000 if you priced it at that, or if you waited longer. A lot of new investors want to take the very first offer that's presented to them because they're really excited. You shouldn't do that. You should wait to get the amount that you want if you're priced right. And so for us, we always price our properties at what we want to sell them for, and we will wait until we get that offer. And typically what can happen is we'll end up getting multiple offers because we wait, and then people start doing a bidding war, and then we get more than we asked for. So the keys with this are price it right from the beginning, and also be patient before taking an offer. Doing that alone could make you tens of thousands of dollars. But anyways, those are 5 common mistakes I see from new investors. I hope that it helps you out. I hope it saves you thousands of dollars. And if you want to avoid some of the other mistakes I see, definitely go to futureflipper.com, check out our courses and coaching programs, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.